Good afternoon and welcome to our newest live play stream in which we'll be playing Green Ronin's Blue Rose Fantasy RPG. This uses a version of Green Ronin's age system and we'll be using their setting for it as well. So welcome to Aldea, the world of the Blue Rose. I'm Bryan F. Irving. I'll be your games master for the season, and with me I have our cast who will introduce themselves. Shaun, would you like to begin?
Yeah, well, so what do you want me to say? My name's Shaun. I'll be playing a character called if I can say it, Thaldron, who is I don't know how you actually pronounce this, but Avata An. And he's a bit of an artist and an expert.
Hello, I'm Patrick. I'll be playing Anemone, who is a sea fork.
Hi, I'm Louise. I'm playing Myval, who is a raccoon, and if anybody who is listening understands Czech, they might have noticed that my character kind of went to the Draco from Dragonheart School of Character Naming.
Yes. Okay, so the adventure begins on the crystal blue waters by Aldis, or around the coast of Aldis and the Shatterstar Archipelago. The characters are members of the crew of Her Majesty's... I've forgotten the name of the ship now. Her Majesty's... I want to say
Chanterelle.
Chanterelle, thank you. Her Majesty's Chanterelle. A vessel which plies this region of the seas and has a small crew. We'll learn a little bit more about Her Majesty's Chanterelle in just a moment. But first of all, each of the players, each of the characters, has something in their background which we're just about to flesh out right now. I have a series of 6 questions for the party, and the answers you give will have profound effects on how the campaign will play out. Of these 6 questions, 3 are compulsory and 3 are optional. So when we reach the optional questions, if you don't want that involved in the game, you can just choose not to answer that question. But I'll start with the 3 compulsory questions. So question 1, the White Heart. One of you has been having dreams about a huge white heart, that appears to you in the forest, its antlers kissed by the glittering sunlight or moonlight through the forest canopy. The heart leads you deeper into the forest to show you something. Who has been having these dreams, and what is the heart trying to show you?
I think Myval would be having those dreams.
Yeah, could be.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Trying to think what it's trying to show me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
do we need to agree on a definitive answer, or can we have a different interpretation each, perhaps?
Well, if only Myval's been having the dreams, then it is Louise who will answer what the heart has been trying to show.
Okay.
So these dreams only come on when you're alone?
I've just got the reference. This is what happens when we talk about music before we begin. So, Louise, what has the heart been trying to show?
Gonna make a suggestion.
Okay.
I'm quite possibly something about the wild is actually in danger. There's something or someone who's planning to, I don't know, destroy the forest, destroy the environment, cause some problem in that sort of effect. And it's a psychic call for help to prevent this from happening.
Well, my character does have psychic arcana, so I guess that could be sort of on those tracks. Maybe it's something that Myval left in the forest when they had their accident a long time ago, which is when they met Sebastian.
Okay.
But they don't remember what the thing is.
Okay. So I'll just type in answer.
Is it something that you potentially have blocked out, a memory that you've suppressed?
Yeah. That would make sense to me.
The heart is trying to show them something they lost. Accident. Excellent. So that is the answer to the first question. So that'll come up during play. So the second question, and I think I already have part of the answer to this from character generation, but I'll go ahead and ask the question anyway. Second question, the lost captain. During the storm, one of you saw the captain washed overboard. You tried to help and even caught hold of the hand for a moment before the cruel sea took the captain under and pitched the vessel, hurling you backwards across the deck and stunning you. Despite this, you were certain that the captain isn't dead. Something convinces you he lives still and is out there, somewhere. What makes you believe this so strongly, and who is the person this relates to?
Well, from character gen, that was me. I had hold of the back of his coat, which tore during the storm, and he fell overboard. The reason I believe that he's still alive, anytime that piece of fabric is brought near a compass, the needle turns towards it.
Oh, excellent, right.
Ooh.
Is that the captain is still alive? Because every time fabric from his torn coat is brought to a compass, the needle turns as if to indicate his direction. That's fantastic. Okay, let's just save that, and I'll make that available to everybody and editable by an enemy whose name I think I may have misspelled in the question's answer, so you can correct that yourself now. So question 3, a big decision. One of you has been putting off making a major decision about your life. Which one of you is it, and what is the decision about?
Okay, it's me.
Okay.
Right. So I'm currently absconding from an arranged marriage.
Right.
Yeah. That's the decision.
Right.
Effectively. So back when I was a bit younger, before I was fully mature, I don't know, late teen, early teen, whatever, mid-teen, two noble houses decided that they were going to have an alliance or whatever. And basically, there's a promise of a marriage to someone who I've never seen.
Right. This marriage to someone you had never seen. You are fleeing this situation to decide.
Avoiding is more the...
Avoiding,
the
You are avoiding this situation until you can decide to do. Perfect, excellent. Okay, again, a couple of spelling mistakes in there, but we'll worry about that a little bit later. So those are the 3 compulsory questions. The following 3 are entirely optional. So if you can come up with interesting answers to these, or want to include them in the narrative of the game, then we will work with the answers. If, however, you don't want these elements in the game. You simply choose not to answer the question. You simply choose to pass on the question. There's 3 of these as well. So question number 4, the harmful rumour. One of you has been the victim of a malicious rumour which has damaged your reputation in your old circles. What is the rumour and who spread it? If you choose to take this question, then the person to whom it relates will gain a 1-point bond of hatred with the person responsible. But also, one of your old friends stood by you and refused to believe the worst. So you will gain a 1-point bond of trust and friendship with a new friend as well.
Now, you said with your old circle.
Yes.
Could that be the crew of the ship?
The crew of the ship's your current circle.
So, right, so it can't... So what I was going to say is I'll quite happily take that, and there's the rumour that I pushed the captain instead.
Okay. Yes, we can do that if you'd like. So you can take a 1-point bond of hatred with the person you believe started the rumour, and a 1-point bond of trust and friendship with a crew member who absolutely refuses to hear it.
So, if I can weave this into the story then, the person who started the rumour would be the old first mate, and you did say it like from an old circle.
Yeah.
So, if because of that he started the rumour and left, he wouldn't remain on the ship.
Right.
With someone who he believed it killed the old captain. He's off looking for the captain as well.
The only problem with that is the adventure actually begins during the storm, immediately after the captain's washed away.
Well,
so we can't have left the ship yet.
Okay, well, my story suggestion then is that he would leave the ship. Yes, and become a sort of parallel antagonist on our journey to try to find the captain.
Okay. Can I just make one further suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
If he was the first mate, then by default, with the captain gone, he'd be in charge.
He would.
He would be more likely to put you adrift than
he would. Yeah,
himself.
That's a fair point.
So it needs to be somebody else.
We'll say the first.
Sorry, go ahead.
The first mate stood by me then.
Yes.
And it was somebody else who started the rumour.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to put this in everybody's thing, and I'm going to make it editable by you, Patrick.
Okay.
And if you'd just like to type that in yourself on question 4.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I'm getting lazy in the old age.
By all means, you delegate and expedite.
Well, it was as I was typing the last one that I thought, why am I typing it? Why don't I just let the players type the answers? They're having to give me the answers in the first place. So, okay, so whoever it was has been cast adrift by the first mate, but some of that lingering doubt remains among some crew members. You just don't necessarily know which ones yet. Other crew members put it out of their mind, but the first mate is absolutely convinced that it's a vicious lie, which of course it is, I assume. Okay, so question 5. Her Majesty Chanterelle. What is the mission that Her Majesty Chanterelle is on at the beginning of play? Is it a warship, a trading vessel, an exploration vessel? Is it taking passengers somewhere, delivering supplies, or something else?
Exploring uncharted seas, which is why we ran into an unexpected storm.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty much that exact same wording, to the point where it's actually kind of spooky.
That ties in beautifully to my first plot as it happens.
Also to back that up, given that I'm sort of an artistic type, I'm sort of the cartographer.
Perfect. Yes. Absolutely perfect. This ties in so beautifully to my first plot now, which you'll see when we get to the second or third scene. Okay, so if somebody would like to add that, I've made question 5 handout editable to all players. So if somebody would like to add all that in there, please go ahead. Now, question 6.
Right, just to go back to the harmful rumour,
Yeah.
I'd like it to be the bosun that I have the 1 point bond of hatred with,
Funnily enough, a bosun was in my mind as well. Yes, okay.
because the railing that the captain was holding onto in the storm broke, and that's his responsibility.
Right.
Ooh.
Yes. That's brilliant.
So deflect the blame.
Yeah,
That is brilliant. Go ahead and add that.
done.
Also, one of the reasons this has taken root a little bit amongst some of the crew is because you're a sea folk. You can
Oh,
swim.
yeah.
They don't understand why would you not just have dived in to save them. The storm's not having an effect underneath the water. Of course, the answer is you were flung backwards across the ship when it pitched and struck you back on the other railings and were temporarily stunned and unable to. But there is just some, because that happened, the bosun's lie is just put that nugget of doubt in the minds of one or two. But you will find out who and how many as the game goes on. So question 6, the item. One of you has an item of significant importance to you. It may be of sentimental value, it may be an heirloom, or something useful, or even something with a materialistic value. What is it, and why is it important to you?
I have one of Sebastian's tarot cards. It is the strength card,
Right.
and it always reminds me to have inner strength when times are troubled.
Excellent. So you can add that onto question 6. It should be editable by you now. In which case, the mechanic that I'm going to add to that card is once per scene. You can essentially you will have a 1 point bond with that card. So once per scene, if it is appropriate, you may use the card to gain +1 on any dice roll.
Okay.
So it has to be when there is times of trouble and you need inner strength. But when that happens, you can use the +1 from the card. So if you'd like to edit that onto question 6 for me, please.
Yep, cool.
I see question 4 has been updated, so it's safe for me to close it now. So I'm closing that. Question 8.
Question 3
5,
is not present in my list.
Okay, let me just check
No,
that.
mine.
Probably missed a field then. Yeah, missed 2 fields actually. All players. There we go, it is now.
Lovely.
And so once Louise has updated question 6, then I'll be
Yeah,
able to close that as well. There's no rush.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Yeah,
what,
there's
what,
no
what,
rush.
what was the mechanic again?
Okay, so you have a +1 bond with the card, which means that in times of turmoil when you require inner strength, once per scene you may draw upon the card just by looking at it for a minor action, and that will give you a +1 on a dice roll relating to inner strength once in that scene.
Okay, well.
Now then, interestingly enough, you've picked the mission for the ship is exactly the mission I have given. I have created that certain other ships in the area are also on, which is very, very useful. So I will tell you a little bit more about it. Currently, the Sovereign has noticed that 2 or 3 vessels a year go missing around the Shatterstar Archipelago. It's not enough that it has immediately drawn anyone's attention before now, but the Sovereign's agents have realised that it's fairly consistent. It's 2 or 3 every year. Yes, you expect to lose 2 or 3 ships every year, but it seems to happen in this region alone. You'd get 2 or 3 ships lost. And over the years, they've begun to think there's something not quite right about this. Recently, they've been compiling information from ships that have come back that have reported running aground or taking damage on a reef or something like that, and they've realised that what appears to be the problem is that the charts around the extreme end of the archipelago are not accurate. There may have been some changes to the geography over the years. There may have been sandbars that have built up. There might have been coral reefs that are now closer to the surface than they were when the old charts were made 100 years ago. It may be that whoever made those old charts just didn't make them that accurately. So they've sent a small fleet of ships to the Stars Ridge Archipelago, the Shattered Stars Archipelago, to re-chart the region, and just to make sure that the charts they have and that they're distributing to the vessels are actually accurate. There are 3 or 4 ships involved in this, and you've all scattered to chart different areas. You have been charting the kind of extreme southwestern end. Some of what you've done has told you that yes, there are absolutely inaccuracies in these maps. Some of the islands are not quite the shape that they suggested. Some of the islands have shallows that go out much further than expected. You've spoken to some of the islanders and you've learned that some of the maps they personally have are not the same as the ones that are filed in Aldis, and the islanders are more accurate. But even the islanders say that their charts aren't entirely accurate either. There are certain parts of the archipelago where things change every couple of years, and they have to change their maps every couple of years. So you've been engaged upon that task, yourself and other vessels. The other vessel that you know of in your area is, let me just find it. I'll be in this handout here. Is the Diamantina. So Her Majesty's Chanterelle and the Diamantina have been charting this particular region. So I've just put the spelling for that in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody happy for us to begin with the next?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So we enter the next scene in media res, as it were. The storm has already hit. The accident with the captain's already occurred, but the storm is in full swing. So let me just make it seem a little bit more stormy, shall we? Okay, so as the wind is howling around the ship, the waves crashing, the ship is pitching, members of the crew are being tossed and blown. Currently, the ship is desperately trying to survive this destructive storm that seemed to spring out of nowhere all of a sudden. There was no warning for it. None of you spotted it coming. At just 1 minute, it was a calm sea and clear sky, and the next minute, this treacherous, murderous storm that's already taken your captain out to sea in the dark depths somewhere. In order for the vessel to weather the storm, you're going to have to try, or the crew are going to have to try and fight it as best they can. Sorry, I'm just aware I need a notebook that I don't have. I will press this one into service for now. So, in your various handouts, in addition to your own characters, you should all be able to use the ship's crew. Can you see the ship's crew in your characters?
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I can. But it's blank.
But it's blank. Okay, so what I need to do is there'll be an edited field I have missed. Just give me a second. Great start. Can be edited and controlled by all players. Save. Okay. You should now all be able to use that as if it was your own character. Yes.
I would try.
Yeah, can see it.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm just going to pop out the scene instructions over onto the flank for me, so the people at home can still see the table. This scene will be done largely theatre of mind, so we'll leave it on the table. So, what's going to happen here is the crew are desperately fighting to save the ship. You're going to need a advanced dexterity sailing test. Each of you will take one section of the crew. So there's 3 sections of the crew operating, trying to save the ship. Some of them are bailing out, some of them are battening down hatches, some of them are up in the rigging. Okay. At any pass in the thing, you can either make one test for your entire section, or you can use your own character's test instead as you command the section. But you can only do one or the other. You can change it each pass. So this is an advanced test, which means you have to reach a success threshold over the course of a number of tests, and the more tests it takes, the more damage the vessel will take in the storm. So, let us begin. Do you want me to do this as an initiative thing, or do you just want me to read the character names left to right across the bottom of my...
Well, I think as I can breathe underwater the best and for the longest, I should be dealing with bailing.
Okay.
If there's a lot of water within the hull and repairs are required under the water,
Plug the holes. Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay.
I would suggest rigging would be something that a nimble Rye raccoon should be good at.
Right.
Spindly little fingers.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're handling the rigging, which means battening down.
Doing the rest of it, I suppose, would be me then.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So in total, you're going to need to reach a success threshold that I know. You don't necessarily know it yet. Each pass you will need to score 10 or better on a dexterity sailing test, which, as I say, either your section or yourself can take. But each pass you can only choose one or the other. You can change which you choose each pass if you wish to. So, I'm just going to read the names left to right. So, Myval, would you like to have your section who are dealing with the rigging? Would you like to give me a test, please?
Okay, did you say it was dexterity, yeah?
It is dexterity sailing. You can either use your
Oh,
own or the ship's crew.
I'm going to use the crew.
Okay, so let me just have a look and see what you scored there. So you scored... it's actually very difficult to read that with the dark thing on. So let me just...
16.
16, thank you. So that's a pass with 2 in the pool. 2. So as your people are scurrying up and down, you're desperately trying to protect the rigging, to bring it down as quickly as possible before the storm rips holes through the sails, or brings rigging crashing down, or tips the ship over because the rigging's still taking the full bill. Your crew have managed to start furling some of the smaller sails, but it's difficult with the waves crashing against the hull. You're tilting left and right, you're pitching and yarring. People are desperately clinging on, trying not to fall. People are soaking wet. It's difficult to see, but you're getting there. You are getting there. So, Thaldron, would your section like to make an attempt at a roll, please?
Okay.
Okay.
Is this 17?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with 6 in the... Oh, right. 6 and 8. Okay, so... Thaldron is dealing... Right, okay, so a lot of the hatches have now been battened down. Not all of them, but you are getting there. The main hatches, so you know now that you're not going to be taking on enough water necessarily to sink the ship, because the main hatches are battened down. They're not entirely quite watertight yet, and there's a couple of the minor ones you still need to work on, but you're getting there. You're making the ship safer. You're proud of the crew. They're working really hard under very difficult circumstances, but things are getting there. Patrick, would you like to give me a roll for your section or for Anemone?
Certainly, yes. Got a bucket chain going, bailing out.
And that's 18. Oh, good lord! Right, okay, so we're up
Nice.
to 14 on the first pass. So your bucket chain is bailing out water faster than it's coming in. As the other parts of the crew are battening down the hatches, the water's coming in at a lesser and lesser rate every minute, and you're now churning it out faster than it's coming in. There's some areas where the hull itself is damaged on the water line, but you're there plugging that, breathing underwater, just quickly making the repairs, and between the 3 sections of the crew, you're making good progress and keeping Majesty Chanterelle afloat in this terrible, terrible gale. However, the gale is still howling and all is not quite well yet. So, pass 2. I should just tell you what's happened on pass 1. So as the sea churns, wave storms tossing the vessel, water washes across the deck, the rigging creaks ominously and the hull takes on water, although you are dealing with that faster than is coming in. As not all of the hatches are quite fully battened down yet. Not enough to risk capsizing the vessel, but enough that some of the contents of the hold may be damaged by the seawater if fortune is against you. Okay, so pass 2. Myval, your section of the crew desperately trying to bring the rigging in and make the ship safe. Give me another dexterity sailing test, see how we go.
Yeah, I'm only a fluffy little guy, and it's very stormy and not great. But I'm going to try and run up or shimmy up one of the sail posts to try and loosen the ropes from up there.
Okay.
Take that +1 from my card, because this is scary.
It is scary, and it takes a lot of courage to get you up there, but you manage in the end, and you scamper up the mizzen mast in an attempt to just deal with the bit that the rest of the crew are struggling to reach, trying to work their way across from the rigging itself towards there. They've been driven back time and time again by the pitch and the yaw. Eventually, your little clawed hands manage to get enough purchase on the mast that you get all the way up and undo the bit that's been giving them problem. There's a huge cheer from the crew, although it's largely snatched away by the wind and the gale and the rain and the lashing water and the crashing waves. But you know it's there, you can see it, and you can just vaguely hear it. So, Thaldron, would you like to give me a roll for your section, please? See if you can get the last of these points of entry for the water.
Here we go then.
And yes, that's you've not been quite as successful as before. You're trying your best, but people have been pitched across the deck, and as you manage to slam home one of the stoppers on one of the minor hatches, you see several of your crew tumbling across the deck, almost washed out to sea. The rest of your group leaves the hatches and grabs hold of men and women as they go tumbling past. You manage to grab everyone before they go overboard, but it was difficult. You've managed to secure another of the hatches, but it's still not quite entirely enough yet. There's just a little bit of downstairs, of course. An enemy's team. Let's see how they're keeping pace with bailing out. Excellent. So
Starting to get tired.
starting to tire a little bit now, certainly. That was still a 14, I think. That was, if I'm reading that correctly, 13.
13.
With 4 in the thing. Okay, so finally the vessel is battened down sufficiently tightly that you're bailing out faster than the water can come in. But still, some but the rigging and sails are now rapidly being secured. It creaks ominously. The mainsail, still only partly secured initially, begins to rip and tear. But before it can completely fall, the crew manage to roll it and stow it, so the damage is reparable. It'll take a few hours of the crew's needlework to repair it. But other than that, the vessel begins to fight against the rudder, and there's the people on the wheel are struggling now to hold it, but they manage. And as the storm rages on, it becomes apparent that everything that can be done now has been done. So crew members scurry into the safety of the bowels of the vessel, closing the last of the hatches, as only those who absolutely have to be on deck still are, as it pitches and yaws and thrashes and the wave splash across the deck. But eventually, the storm burns itself out, and once again the sky begins to clear. All seems to be calming. If you believe that.
It's just the eye of the storm. Oh, that sounds ominous.
Yeah, I've pressed the wrong button, that's why.
I take it it's at this point that we discover the captain is gone.
It's at this point that you discover the captain is gone. Yeah. It's at this point that the recriminations begin and the vicious rumours that an enemy could have saved the captain but didn't begin to spread throughout the crew. As the day goes on, eventually the first mate puts his foot down with a firm hand and says, "No, the reason the captain is gone is the rail gave out, and only one man is responsible for that, and that's the boatswain, the very man who blamed an enemy for throwing the captain overboard. This is nothing but an attempt by him to cover for his own failings. Put him in one of the ship's launches and set him adrift. The storm is gone. We're not that far from the islands. If you sail northeast for half a day, you will reach safety on the Shatterstar archipelagos." He has the other sailors put enough food in the launch to send him away safely on his way. There is some muttering and some complaints about this. There are several other sailors choose to go with him as well. People who are so completely convinced by his story that they won't stay on the same ship as an enemy who they're convinced killed the captain. They go with the boatswain. And you're aware that there are still some people on the crew who just have that little bit of doubt. Occasionally you catch a sideways glance, or someone tries not to catch your eye or scurries past and won't speak. But for the most part, most of the crew seem happy enough that the bosun is right. That the first mate is right. That the bosun was indeed the one at fault. However, the ship has more things to worry about right now than its internal squabbles, because the ship has been greatly damaged by this storm that you've just weathered. So let's find out what the damage has been. As various teams are sent around the ship for damage control, they come back with the following reports. Let me just find the scene. Okay, so after the storm, as dawn breaks and the bosun's launch is disappearing off in the distance, the vessel is left off course and with some damage, but it's still afloat and the damage is not as severe as it could have been. There are 4 injured crew in all who will need medical attention. The first mate has ordered damage control parties to make an assessment and to report to him in addition to anything specified. Oh, sorry, that was for me. A bit of a Chris there, I do apologise. The first mate has ordered damage control parties to make an assessment and to report back to him. So, as you will all be taking one of the damage control parties each, could you give me a perception searching test, please? Once again, you either make your characters or one roll for your section. You can choose, it doesn't matter which.
We got a 15.
Okay, you got a 15. So what you discover is that the rudder has been damaged. The rudder has taken some damage, which is not critical yet, but the strain will continue the cracks up the rudder, so it will need to be repaired. The repair job is going to require, let me just take a look. It's going to require somebody cuts some new pieces, crafts the new rudder itself. That's going to take the carpenters some 4 hours. And then there'll need to be a team put over the side to install it. That team will be working in the water and in some points under the water. So I guess we know who's doing that.
Yeah. How far from shore are we at this point?
Well, you're not entirely sure. You think you're about half a day away.
Right. Because I think we should, I don't know, heave to and set course for land at this point.
I have concerns that we are in the eye of the storm.
It's a possibility. So you can bring that to the first mate, and there will be a discussion about that shortly once they know the full extent of the damage.
Okay, so we've got a damage rudder.
You've got a damage rudder. So what's the second team? What did they get?
A 14, I believe, yes.
A 14. So you've spotted the second issue. Contaminated supplies. Some of the supplies have been contaminated by seawater, which made it into the hold before the hatches were secured, or via some of the leaks that were sprung in the hull. About a third of your water has been contaminated by seawater and is ruined. It's not fit to drink. And about the same amount of food has been spoiled as well. This is going to force you to find some foraging parties you can put ashore to at least replenish the water and the food. Okay, and the third damage control party, what did you get?
18.
18. So, although the hull has not been critically holed, it has sprung a few minor leaks and the vessel is still taking on water. Repairing the leaks will require an advanced dexterity crafting test, and will take it's difficult to say exactly how long it's going to take, but it's going to be a minimum of 30 minutes up to several hours.
Okay. None of the crew are particularly good crafters. We did send the bosun away, so that's
Whoops.
somewhat problematic. Do either of you have crafting?
Don't think so. but
I could carve you a nice model out of a piece of balsa.
How big of a model?
Yeah, that's how big's your piece of balsa?
If it was a full scale model.
I have the artisan ability focus, but not. It would be very artistic.
Yes.
I could observe.
Yeah, you
That's
could
a
watch
very
it being
important job.
It is a very important job.
I could try persuading somebody else to do it, but no, I don't have any sort of.
Who's the
shipbuilding.
navigator?
Well, the crafting test is under dexterity, so if nobody's particularly good with the crafting focus, start looking at who has the highest dexterity. That might be right.
Well, I'm thinking about asking the navigator how far we are from the nearest port.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
That was also my question: is how far are we from land? And you said we're about half a day away.
You're about half a day away. It's difficult to be exact, but that is away from land, not the closest.
Yeah,
port.
not from port.
Yeah. The closest islands are just tiny little things with minimum number of people on board, of people living there. In fact, some of the islands that you're closest to don't have anybody living on them at all, except possibly the bosun and his castaways.
Do you think if we went and found them, could you fix this?
I mean, you could ask.
But maybe not you.
Yes.
No.
It's like that time my friend found out they lost their job when they got a thing from a job recruiter's company advertising them their own job.
Oh God, never.
That's kind of
That's
pre the.
Yeah. That's why we have tribunals, surely.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Should have applied for it and then got it.
yeah. At a
That
higher
would've been the
rate
irony.
than
The interview had a comedy mustache.
Okay, so I am going to allow an artisan roll for this. It will be a little bit faffier than is strictly necessary. For the repairs to the ship itself, I'll just allow a straight dexterity artisan test instead of a dexterity crafting test. That won't be a problem. Because you're just putting little bits of wood into seal holes and whatnot. For the rudder, if you use artisan instead of crafting, then it will be slightly less efficient, but it will be better than the damaged rudder you have at the moment, because the damage is only going to get worse if any stress is put on.
Right. Are we in a position where we can sort of lay out? See, this is the thing. How long will our supplies last? Do we?
You've lost about a third of them, and you would have been heading for a supply run anyway, so you probably have about a day's worth of supplies, because you give the bosun some as well. You probably have about a day's worth of water. Food you're better off with, but water you've probably only got about a day's worth.
Damn. Right. So let's get on with plugging the holes while we're underway.
Okay.
I take is our rigging sound enough to get underway?
Your rigging's sound, yeah. So the only problems are the damaged rudder, the contaminated supplies, and the hull damage. Had you not been quite as efficient, because you got you got your target number during the storm just on your second pass. Had it gone on, it would have gotten worse and worse and worse. You'd have lost the rigging on pass 3, I think. And so on.
And we would have had to eat the bosun instead of marinating him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Who's making what repairs?
Right. So I'll attempt to plug the holes in that case.
Okay.
Because I've got the artisan ability and a dexterity of 3, so I get a +5.
Okay, so plugging the holes, then every pass is 30 minutes. It's a target number of 9. Rising to 11 if nobody's bailing out. But I assume people are going to be bailing out, so I'll give you a target number of 9.
Okay, first one. 13.
Okay, so after about half an hour's work, you've cut all the plugs that you're going to need. Everything's going to fit, you just haven't fitted them all yet. So we're 30 minutes into the operation so far. Give me a second test.
Same test. 15.
15, and with a pass number of 6, that means it takes you in total 1 hour to repair the hull and make it watertight again.
Okay, right.
So the vessel's underway. It's going relatively slowly, and the first mate is carefully plotting a route that's not going to require too much tacking or too much turning, because every time they do that, there'll be stress put on the rudder.
Right. Is there any way to jury rig the rudder at this point, or is it a case of we have the stuff to create a new rudder?
Oh yeah, you've got enough wood in the hull to make the repairs. Yeah.
Right.
Just a case of who's going to do it.
I'll put a dexterity of 4.
So you would actually be quite good at this then. So the target number is, let's see now. Yeah, the target number is 9.
Okay.
Is there any way to assist?
Yes, you can assist as well. You would get to add your dexterity number to Myval's dexterity number.
Well, that gives you another +3 then in that case.
Right, you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make a roll and then we increase it by 3.
Yep.
Okay. And Shaun, if you also make a roll, but we're only really interested in the number on your stunt dice.
Right, do you want just dexterity? Or...
Yes, please. Yeah. So it doesn't matter whether you pass or fail, it's just we'll be using the higher of the 2 stunt dice because you assisted. So that's 2. So after about an hour, you have it's not quite a workable rudder there. It's going to need a lot of work, but you are getting there. You have the basics of the rudder. You need to sort of carve the mount and make sure that you can get this fitted properly. Currently it's a little bit wide. You're going to need to sand it down a bit. So if you could give me a second test, starting with Myval, who's actually doing the work.
Yeah, to be fair, using tools that probably aren't designed for wrecking paws.
Yes.
Little paws.
So that's a pass. So Thaldron is also assisting. So if you could give me a roll and we'll use the highest of the 2 stunt points. That's
there you
6. That gives us a total of a new rudder.
Yay!
So in total it's taken you about 4 hours to craft a new rudder. You're pretty certain this rudder is going to fit. It's going to be able to replace the old one. The only problem is now you're going to have to fit it. Fitting it is going to require 2 people working in the water. It will take a minimum of 10 minutes to fit the rudder, maybe a little bit longer if anything doesn't quite go entirely according to plan.
Somebody being able to breathe underwater would be good at this point, yeah?
It would, yes. So.
It's no good me saying, yes, this is me, hello, if I'm muted, is it?
Not
Probably.
really.
I think you were exceptionally quiet.
Although
What's the...
I've been saying all sorts of things.
I
Voice-
did wonder why you'd gone so silent all of a sudden. Yeah.
the voice from below decks?
Yes.
Still here.
Yeah.
So who else is going to go in the water? Is it going to be one of the player characters, or is it going to be a able seaman? In which case,
Are there any other sea folk?
Are there any other sea folk? That's a good question. Let's see. Give me the roll of a d6 on a 1 to 3. The answer is yes. Actually, I think it's quite likely that there would be. So on a 1 to 4, the answer is yes. Yes, there are. So there are other sea folk, which means there are 2 of you can go over and do the repairs, so we can do away with the Constitution swimming test. We don't need to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
All we need to do instead, this sea folk will have the relative stats of a crew member, except they are sea folk, so they can breathe water and whatnot. So if you give me a challenging advanced test,
I have just noticed I should have the swimming focus and I don't.
You get it automatically as C4.
Yeah.
So just feel free to add it. Yeah. But you won't need to roll because you and your friend, the water's calm now.
It's just another sea folk. It doesn't mean we're friends. We're not all friends, you know. We don't all know each other. Bit of an assumption.
So you and your fellow crew sea folk, are going to go over the side into the water and start fitting this rudder. So give me, for each of you, a dexterity crafting test. We take whoever gets the highest.
And his comes from the crew, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Same.
Both got 14 with a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so after 10 minutes of work, I just need to see what the target number is. Okay, after 10 minutes of work, you have gotten into the water, you've had the rudder that's in there, you've worked it loose, you've knocked out the pins, you've excuse me, you've managed to take the old broken rudder away and safely drop it to the ocean floor, ready to have the new rudder fitted. The new rudder has now been swung out and lowered down towards you. So give me the second test, please. Try not to both fail this one, or you will drop the rudder.
Shark.
So another dex test, yeah?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Okay, so that's a pass with another 6, so the total pass is 12. The target number in total was 12. So as they swing this out, then lower it down. If anybody at home is wondering why I'm laughing, take a look in the bottom right corner of the feed and you'll see what Shaun's just posted in the chat there. So you see the rudder is swung out over the sea and lowered gently down towards you. You and the other sea folk crew member manage to maneuver it into position, lock it in, and then hammer the pins home that'll hold it in place. You've managed to repair the rudder. You've done this in 2 passes, so that's an hour. So 5 hours. 5 hours plus the half an hour of plugging the thing. So 5.5 hours after the end of the storm, or after setting the bosun adrift. The bosun has 5.5 hours head start on you.
No.
Your vessel is now fully seaworthy again, apart from the fact that unless you can put in somewhere to get food, and more importantly water, you might yet have a bit of an issue. So, let me just... next up... So, the first mate has already plotted the most convenient course to an island. Now, the island you're heading for is largely uninhabited. He has taken the decision to try and miss the island that the bosun's most likely have headed for, because he doesn't want to have a awkward confrontation. So based on this, you should be okay. You should reach the island before you run out of water. You'll definitely reach it before you run out of food, unless you were much further off target after the storm than the first mate believes you were. I'm about to take a quick bathroom break, but while I'm doing that, could everybody give me a... perception seeing test, please. And yeah, a perception seeing test. One of you can be in the crow's nest if you want, in which case your target number is 7. Anybody who isn't in the crow's nest, your target number is 9. I'm just going to pay a quick bathroom break. I'll be back in a minute.
Probably Myval, as you were dealing with the rigging and climbing things at your bag, you're probably going to be up in the crow's nest?
Probably.
There you go. The crew done well.
Yeah.
Nice.
I take it the rest of the crew are able to have a look. See, so we'll put a roll in for them. Yeah.
I can't see shit.
Yeah, I think we were too busy going, oh, that's a nice rudder, and oh yeah, no, it's fitted well, isn't it? Yeah, we're just not paying attention. Yeah, that's working.
I think I'm underneath the hull of the ship. I think I'm scraping barnacles or something.
Perhaps you're between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea.
Ah, between Scylla and Charybdis.
There you go. So if we come across some opposition and someone shouts, "I see an enemy,"
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
are they looking at your back? Or they can actually see the opposition? But yeah, I don't know.
I've had the Disturbed song stuck in my head the whole time I've been thinking of this character.
The sound of silence. No?
No, not.
Which one?
Well, 3 guesses.
It's something to do with enemies, is it?
It is.
So it's not down with the sickness then.
That's going to put me to sleep if I keep watching that going backwards and forwards on the desk. The cards that's just like,
It's rather soothing, isn't it?
it's the rhythm. But yeah, like I'm not feeling that well
Oh, right.
at this point, so my concentration's a little bit fogged at the moment.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Right, so how did everybody do?
Well, we can't see anything, for want of a better word. It's Spock with his visor on, that meme.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't found my sea eyes yet.
But I'm up in the crow's nest and I think I did okay.
Yeah, and then the rest of the crew was spot on.
Right, okay. So, those of you who passed then, you say you think you did, Louise? What did you get?
16 plus, I can't remember what you said the plus was for being up in the crow's nest.
You didn't so much get a plus, you got a reduction of the target number.
Oh, okay.
So the target number, if you were in the crow's nest, was 7. So you've easily spotted it. The target number for those of you who were on deck was 9 if you were on the quarter deck, 11 if you were on the main deck.
Yeah, neither of us did. We scored 8s.
You scored 8. She didn't notice, but Myval noticed. And what you noticed was, let me see now, you spot debris in the water.
I saved this cheese.
Very fast.
Not the Flotsam and Jetsam. You see Flotsam and Jetsam bobbing in the water ahead. Sort of. It looks like it's what's left of something that was destroyed in the storm, whether it was a small vessel or whether it was something that was washed overboard or not. What you do notice, though, is one of the things has movement on. And as you peer through your spyglass, you realise that there are several survivors on a raft, a makeshift raft, amidst other debris that looks like it's parts of a vessel, and
It's not the Diamante, is it?
difficult to tell at this point.
Well, I mean, very difficult to tell for me because I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it.
I take it there's a warning being shouted that there's people in the water,
Well,
effectively.
this is a bit of the
Well, it's
problem.
been squeaked.
Squeaks, yes. Okay, who is it you have your rye bond with?
I don't think we actually settled on it, but I can talk to Thaldron anyway because I have psychic contact.
That's right. Okay, so Thaldron, you're being warned by Myval that there are survivors in the water. And
Right.
almost at the same time, you start to hear crew members who've spotted the same thing call out, warning that there's people in the water. The first mate begins to issue orders to bring the vessel to a stop and to start prepping a launch. He's looking for volunteers to go in the launch to go and rescue. When I say volunteers,
Are we? This was one of the things that's discussed. What rank do we hold on the ship? Effectively, are we kind of junior officers?
yes,
In effect,
junior officers, yes.
So we'd be kind of the people for that. So when we go into a watch pattern,
Yes.
it would be But I take it it's daylight, it's daytime. We're after the storm.
Yes, it's you set the bosun adrift at just after dawn, say an hour after dawn. It's been 6 hours since then, so it is something in the region of lunchtime, around about there.
Honestly, 6 hours is long enough to go away in a boat, get knacked, make a makeshift raft, and come back.
Okay.
If we get down there, find us the bosun and his friends, we just like give them a punt in the right direction and try again.
Okay, right. So we'll launch a launch, as it were.
Okay, so I'm
Lifeboat.
to,
I don't know how big the crew is.
it's a relatively small crew, so you're probably talking about 24, 25 people, that kind of region.
So we'll take about 4. I don't know, maybe 4 able-bodied seamen in the boat. Are we all going to go?
Take 4
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Or sea people? I don't know.
Or sea people, yeah. So let me just drag over
Called
some
sea folk.
sailors. You are called sea folk.
No, I wasn't meaning you. I was meaning let's not
sea
eat. I
people
don't know.
rather than sea man.
Yeah.
Persons.
Yeah, sea persons. Okay, so I'm just dragging out some NPCs
That-
for you. The 4.
Yeah. Another question: are there any other ridings on the boats?
No.
No, there aren't.
No one else riding along.
Oh dear. Okay, that oddly enough, sailor didn't bring me up any options at all. So let's try pirate, because I know I have.
Has Thaldron got a force field around him?
That's just a token from the thing.
Yeah,
Take that off.
yeah. Think of it as a base on a miniature.
Yeah.
We could put those on all of them, but traditionally we've tended to remove them because we
In-
started
in the s-
playing with
in the same
ones
way-
that came with the pack.
Regardless of where Space Marines go, they bring their own circle of grass.
Yeah, pretty much. So
I could take that off and change it. I'll do that for the next one. And it actually means you can have a slightly bigger.
you
top-down
can have a
miniature.
slightly big. Yes, it does. It does make them easier to spot, though, as the advantage that they have. But yeah, I suppose it
I
stands out
personally
because
prefer without.
you
There's
personally
some
prefer
giants in the
without.
water.
This is the problem with characters that are lying down. They look gigantic because they're twice the size. But if you think
Yeah.
about it, if you're looking at somebody who's lying down,
Of course.
they do take up. That's still under 2 meters, so these people are under 6 foot.
Yeah.
So yes, but it does always look just that slightly. It's just slightly wrong, doesn't it? Okay, so there's 2.
Yeah, it's because it pulls them up towards you, in effect, perspective-wise. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're looking at somebody top-down, their heads would be closer to the top-down view.
That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of the perspective becomes inversed.
Yes.
It makes the top-down look smaller than it should do.
It
It makes the lying-down person pulls them forward up towards you. Yeah, that's depth
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly. So there you go. As you're approaching, you see a lot of flotsam and jetsam in the water. You can see the raft with survivors. You can see bits of damaged vessel, and you can see several bodies bobbing in the water of people who haven't made it as well.
I'm going to really flex my role-playing muscles here and play a character who's not obsessed with going through for treasure.
Right, okay. Are you sure you can cope with that?
No.
Okay.
Frankly, no. I'm regretting it immediately. What's in the boxes, Bryan? What's in the boxes?
Well, there's a few barrels bobbing about. From the way they're bobbing in the water, you guess that most of them are sort of partially filled. Any that were full are liable to have sunk. Some of the
Hang on a
boxes
second.
bobbing about. Yeah.
That's bloody Shredder.
Shredder.
Look.
Ninja Turtles finally got him.
Yeah. It's no one else.
Okay. So
No, the thing is, if any of those barrels contain fresh water, they would float.
yes.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
This is your bag, isn't it, Shaun? I've just realised this is a busman's holiday for you.
I suppose it is. Yeah. Whose company did all the safety precautions for the two vessels?
Yeah, they actually scan it through our software. You know, dangerous cargo,
Yeah.
safety of life at sea.
So what are the party going to be doing?
I think really our priority should be the living people on the raft,
Indeed, yes.
and then seeing if any of the floaty stuff is full of fresh water or food.
Okay, well you're going to have to manoeuvre through the cloud of debris without taking any damage, which shouldn't be too hard.
Quick
Sorry, go
thought.
ahead, yes.
Quick thought. I am the party's healer, yeah?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Oh, I don't have healing for some reason. Have I lost things from my sheet, or did I never get them or something?
I'm not aware you've lost anything. No.
Ew.
I have had this happen a couple of times actually on Roll20 in one of the other games,
Okay.
where a couple of my focuses have just gone walkies off my sheet.
Mhm.
Really? Right, okay.
Yeah.
So how many focuses do you appear to have? And we'll see if
Well,
it's in-
since I put on the free one of swimming, I've got 3.
Okay, sounds about right. But we actually...
Yeah, that
Yeah, about
sounds
right.
about
That sounds
about
about
right.
Right.
Because I've got 2.
I've got one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like you zigged at some point and decided to...
I think I did. Why have I got natural law rather than healing then?
I don't know.
Is it too late?
Since this is episode 1, right,
Yeah.
I will allow you to swap that over.
Because I was sort of working on the assumption that I was the party's healer. If I don't have that, we don't have a healer, right?
I mean, anybody can make a healing test. Intelligence target number 11.
Yes.
It's better if you do have. So, since this is the first episode, I will allow you to make
Right.
that adjustment.
Okay, I'll quickly switch that out then. So
Because
natural
you've
law
never
for healing.
used the natural
No.
law. You haven't had an opportunity.
I'm not sure why I've got it. If it might have been like a cultural bonus or something. Okay, so as the party's healer, which I believe myself to be to start with, and now I'm on paper, I want to check if these guys are definitely dead.
You're going to have to get a lot closer to find that out.
Poking with a stick.
No, I just want to see if they're breathing.
Could you not just swim over to them? Like,
Hi, chums.
I don't want to get too close.
Okay. Well,
oh right.
so you're trying to tell if they are breathing without getting any closer than you are now, is that what you mean?
I don't want to get too close. I will get as close as I need to check.
Let's
Okay.
move the boat down to here. Let's heave to and get ourselves going rowing.
From this distance, can I see if they are sea folk? for a start.
They're definitely not sea folk. Okay, I'm
Okay.
having a bit of an odd effect in that every time I try and move the boat, the entire map is
Is it on the wrong
resetting
layer?
itself.
Oh,
Fuck's sake.
ramming speed.
No, we'll just be able to push the debris away with the oars.
Well, hang on. What I'd like to do, I'd like to get into the water, swim underneath.
Okay.
For a start, I want to check and see if there's any sea folk under the water.
Okay, pop yourself in the water then.
Splash.
Splash, right you are. Well, at that point, what you are likely to notice, I suspect, give me a perception seeing test.
It's attack of the aqua camels.
Shouldn't be hard to spot, but the boat is very slightly in your way.
18.
18, yes, you've definitely noticed it. So just give me a second to add this. So I'll drop that onto the token layer, and once we're on the token layer, I activate the animation. There you go. So yes, you have spotted no sea folk in the water at all. You're very, very pleased to hear. The shark, on the other hand.
Well, shit. Okay. So there's definitely. Oh my god. Right.
Yes, you can hear what sounds like a cello playing.
Very. Oh, bollocks. Right. Very. Very carefully and not thrashing about as though I am something dead in the water or dying in the water, so as to not attract it. I will get back into the boat.
Okay, so leave yourself there for the time being, and we'll start getting the thingies done. So I just need to make all the crew people. So there are 4 crew. Awkward. So I'm going to say that the first one is so crewman 1. Louise, you're going to be controlling that.
Yep.
Crewman 2. Shaun, you're going to be controlling that one.
Okay.
Crewman 3. I think you can see where this is going at this point. Oops, it is it. Crewman 3. So Patrick, you'll be controlling crewman 3.
Okay.
And I will control crewman 4 and the shark.
Right.
So crewman 4. I don't need fanning on with that bit. So from the crew, just need to find the ship's crew. And if you could all start making initiative rolls for me for your crewmen and your characters, please.
I'm not in control of my token.
Yeah, you're not right up here. I'm going to have to come back to that in a second then. Something's gone slightly awry. So shark. Initiative. Okay, so Shaun, which crewman were you?
I crewman 2. I've done him, but I can't control me.
You can't control you, right? Okay. Let me just have a look. Yeah, that would be why. I'll just slave this to your character.
Yeah, it's now come on. Right, that's
Brilliant. Yeah, and if I just do health on this one.
it.
Okay, there we go. So that should be everybody. The survivors of the other ship are on that little raft trying to... They haven't spotted the shark yet, so they've got no idea what's going on. They're kind of waving at you to like, "Hey, come and save us! Yay, our heroes!" So, let me just see who's going first. So, descending order. So, Myval, you're going first, but you don't know about the shark yet. However, give me a perception seeing test, please. The shark is about to come up and try and eat somebody, so you might spot. What do you get?
10.
10.
With 3 strength points.
10. Well, 3 stone points if you passed. Let me just have a look. So it's an average test. Average 11. You needed bad luck. You just haven't noticed. You're too busy focusing on pushing the flotsam out of the way so that it doesn't damage the ship. So you're pushing it that way. You're kind of looking that way. Crewman number 2 can give me a test. A perception seeing.
Sorry, I'm muted. Hold on.
It's a day for that.
Isn't it?
14.
14. Okay. Crewman number 2 has spotted the shark's dorsal fin just breaking the water. So what would crewman number 2 like to do about that?
I'd like to shout shark
Right you are.
and point.
He yells shark and points out the shark. It means he won't get another action this round, but everybody else now knows the shark's there and can act when their turn comes round. So crewman number... Where the hell is the shark?
Shark's there. Number 13.
I would have expected it to have gotten a better initiative roll than it got. Crewman number 3.
I'm muting myself this time. What's he armed with?
Whatever it says in the
Ship's crew.
Which I believe is a belaying pin, a bill hook, and a sling.
Okay. Will the sling break skin?
Don't know, you try.
Okay. Taking aim at the dead body.
Right, okay, yes, I can see what you're trying
Oh,
to do.
right.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. The dead body's defense is going to be 10 because it's bobbing about a bit.
Okay.
It's not actively trying to get out of your way.
Yep. 15.
15, that's a hit. Give me the damage, please.
9.
9, yes, that's definitely caused a blood trail, which I'm assuming was the point. So
Exactly.
let me just search for blood. And we'll drop some blood in the water.
And a drift is across over here.
And a shark will continue going after its prey that it's locked onto rather than anybody else in the water. Rather than going after somebody fresh. So I know how much you like your sort of accuracy for animals from that time. I tried to be a shark in fresh water.
Yes, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a blood trail leading off the doomed dead guy.
He was definitely dead to start with, right?
Well,
But
it
he is
could be in a
now.
minute.
if that 9 points of damage didn't finish him off.
Yeah, he was definitely dead because when the sling bullet hits, it twitches exactly like just an inanimate
Somebody
object
dying.
would have done.
Oh my god, he killed crewman Kenny!
So,
if that had hit, it'd just gone, ow, you bastard!
crewman number 1, please.
Oh yeah, that's me, sorry.
That's you, yeah.
Oh god. Can crewman number 1 help with the rowing us closer?
Yes, yeah. So I will. Oh, look, it's going to let me this time as well. I will move. Oh, no, it's not. That was too much to ask, apparently. Okay, I think that's going to let me. Yeah.
Is that a rowing roll?
You can make one, yes, but
Don't leave me.
probably isn't necessary at this point. Because it's a fairly basic rule that you're trying to make, and you do have Myval at the front, just pushing the jets him out of the way.
Not only is the shredder, there's also Splinter.
Yes.
Squeaking swearily.
Okay, so crewman number 4.
It's
that's
yours.
me.
What's in this barrel? Can we actually get a hook to it?
Yes, anybody with a bill hook can easily hook it, or anybody
All
without
of the
can
crew,
try
then.
and lean over and grab it. So let's have a look. Go with the sling at the shark.
Schling.
And this character scored a hit, I think.
14.
40, thank you very much. So let me just see what the shark's defense is. 12. So he has hit the shark with a sling bullet. Let's find out if it'll go through shark skin. Six. So that might.
It has aggravated
Oh,
the
that
shark.
absolutely does. 4 points of damage gets through. There we go. So yes, he's aggravated the shark. So the sling bullet, bang, hits the dorsal fin of the shark, and you can see like a bloody trail from the dorsal fin where the sling bullet has hit it. The shark, on the other hand, immediately dives. Dive.
I thought you said dies for a really beautiful second there, and then I realised you said
I'm
dives.
afraid not. No. So that's dived, and then dwarf, one of the other, and then
Submerges.
submerges, and then immediately this happens. Layer, token layer. Fuck's sake. There it is.
Oh. Very nice.
Okay,
Jump.
so as the shark
very
emerges
sweet.
in one bite, it chomps rips it in half completely and swallows it. But that's its major action for the round.
Yep.
Was eating the first half of the corpse. So Myval, what would you like to do? This is a big bloody shark, by the way.
Hang on.
There's another corpse there.
Hang on. So, what did I do on my turn?
Yeah, because you had to go as crew. I don't think you had to go as yourself, did you?
No.
Yeah, it seems to have jumped right the way back to the start. It hasn't come through. So yeah, it is actually you to go. It's Shaun to go.
Patrick's character isn't on there.
Yeah, you don't appear to be.
Hang on. I definitely rolled for myself.
Yeah, you might not have had your
I-
character under you.
I'm almost certain I did.
Okay, well, just add,
Only almost though.
Yeah, you had initiative 14.
yeah.
I just rolled again, and I have gone into the order this time.
Oh.
So by the looks of it, if I had an initiative roll and wasn't in the order, then I hadn't kept my character.
Right. Yeah. Okay,
And
no
the shark seems to have lost its initiative on my screen.
That's okay. We'll just add it again. Anybody remember what it was?
13.
13. There we go. So that's been added back in. We've been descending, and we are currently on
Me.
you. Yeah.
Right. My initiative was 16 before, and I've got a message above it in peach, which I've never seen before. You wanted to send the result of this roll to the turn tracker, but no valid token was selected.
It means you didn't have your
So there it is in black and peach.
black and peach. Yeah. Okay, so we will just change yours back to 16, and I'll get Shaun done first so we don't forget it. And then tell me what.
I was effectively holding action the whole time.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to shout across to the crew, ahoy,
Ahoy!
on the raft, sorry, across the
I
raft,
took
and
it, that's
say,
what you meant,
you know, something along the lines of identify yourselves.
Okay, so you're asking them to identify themselves. Give me a perception hearing to actually too close now. You don't need one. That's okay. So they call back that they are. So it's the one at the front with the saber says, "I'm Solana. I'm from the Diamantina. This is Javin and Cashin, and at the back, Lorna."
Would we have known these people?
Probably not. You might have known the senior officers, but not necessarily.
Not anybody in the crew.
You may know one of them.
Yeah.
I'll allow you to decide if you know one of them.
Are they good-looking women? No.
Looks is in the eye of the beholder, but I think I'm right in saying there are 2 men and 2 women.
Right. No, that's okay. Right. Well, that'll be my action then to do that, and I'll ready a rope to throw to them or whatever it is, or get a bill hook ready to hook the raft.
Okay, you're going to.
Oh no! Hang on. That is talking a minor action in that effect.
Talking's a free action.
Free action, right? I'll hook that first barrel then, which is beside us, to find out what it is.
This one here, bobbing away.
Yeah. Because if it's fresh drinking water, we've now got 4 extra mouths to.
That's a very important point.
So you haul the barrel in, and as luck would have it, it is a drinking water barrel. It isn't full, but there is drinking water in it.
With rationing, that might help.
It might, yeah, it might absolutely. So that's your actions. So it is Patrick. It's an enemy.
Okay. I'm going to get back in the boat.
So you can move yourself over there and clamber back into the boat.
Yep.
Give me a swimming test, please. You can't fail the actual swimming part of it because you are seafood, but you might fail to get out of the boat without to get into the boat rather.
Is he going to do like one of those Man from Atlantis, like
yes,
flip
that's
his
exactly
body
what
in?
you do. You see the shark and you take off like a rocket through the water and just jump out of the water and land in the boat going, "Shark!"
And I will take a pot shot at Shredder.
Right, okay. Take a pot shot at Shredder as well.
Is he within stabbing distance?
And that's a good point.
Yes,
Effectively, or if I can swim past and give him a stab.
Yeah, go on, I'll allow it. So you need to hit a target of 10 or better.
Right.
He just bobs out of your way.
Fair enough. I'll give him a poke with my trident. Is there any difference, like one-handed, two-handed, pinpoint? I remember putting all these in, but I can't remember what I've got to do to get them all.
Well, a pinpoint does more dexterity. You have to have a higher dexterity.
I think you've probably got a higher dexterity than a corpse.
Yeah,
I think Louise is correct, yes.
if I didn't, I was like, can I just regen, please?
Well, the thing is, you could be on a -1.
I could be.
For
entirely possible.
Yeah.
Entirely possible.
Could be the clumsiest rogue ever.
Yes.
So I will give him a pinpoint poke.
Right, go ahead.
With my trident with both hands.
Okay.
I'm swimming with my legs.
Right. Okay. Okay, you thrust the trident into the unfortunate corpse, dead again twice in one day.
And you've generated 6 stunt points.
For 6 points of stunts. I want to like chop him into a fine mince for the shark. I want to go totally Gordon Ramsay on him and make a delightful human sushi brunch.
Well, a trident is a thrusting weapon, so if you're using food metaphors, a kebab would be more.
Yeah, okay, yeah, true.
Yeah, you forked him up quite badly, and you say as you go past, "That's the end of you, chum."
Oh, very good. We had a fucking good time.
These puns are fucking
yet,
ridiculous.
for some reason, I continue to play with these people, couldn't Okay, so you're causing that corpse to bleed as well. You've thrust the trident into it and pulled it out, and there's blood leaking out of the water. Then you jump into the boat, and it is back around to the next round.
It's a trident-tested plan.
That's
Myval
all,
to go.
folks.
See if you can get in before anybody else cracks another pun.
I've accidentally closed my character sheet. That was not helpful.
It's alright, I do that at least twice in any given combat.
Can I hold my action?
Yes.
Because
yes,
it don't seem to be next to any debris and swoosh out of the way, and I'm not at an all.
Okay, no problem. An enemy next. You to go again.
Okay. Quick question. Destiny and fate. Is fate the one that you try to avoid?
Yes, I think.
Yeah. So what I said at the start about not wanting to start rooting through for treasure, my fate is greedy.
Right.
So I'm actually playing towards the higher aspect of my character.
You are, yes. You're playing towards your character's destiny rather than their fate.
Yes. So
For people at home who don't know, Blue Rules uses a mechanic where everybody has a fate and destiny, which are diametrically opposed to one another. Playing towards one is enhancing the character's lighter side. Playing towards the other is enhancing the character's darker side.
I will attempt to propel the boat forward through the medium of a paddle.
I thought you were going to say, of interpretive dance. Okay, give me a sailing test. Dexterity sailing, please. Drift these off so they're out of the way when I try and get the boat to move instead of moving everything in the wrong direction. Okay, what did you get?
14.
14, yep. Okay, so what I might do... No, I'll just move the boat. Just ping where you want the boat to go.
Well, fairly close to them, but not bumping them so that we send them off in the opposite direction. Just so that they could, so they can get alongside and jump in.
Okie dokie. So they will try and do exactly that.
I presume we're going to hook the boat at this point. We're going to have the crew members hook the boat.
Yeah, that's the other purpose of the bill hooks. Well, it's actually the primary purpose of the bill hooks is to do this.
Hook the raft, sorry. Hook the raft.
The raft, yeah. Okay, so crewman number 1. Who's got crewman number 1?
Hang on, I think that's me. Can I hold out one of the what are they called? Rowing poles, oars, to try and help one of the people on the raft across.
Yes, you can.
Sorry for that momentary brain fog there.
Yeah. Okay, that's not a problem. Sorry, just dealing with a message for work there that I had to deal with fairly rapidly.
At least it wasn't foot mittens.
Yeah. So coming back to the there we are. So crewman number 1 is trying to help one of these people across onto your boat, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be the person at the front, which is, if I recall correctly, begins with an S. Solana. She holds out the bill hook and she grabs behind the blade, obviously, and between the two of them, to pull Solana over onto your vessel. So you've saved the first, well, unless you get capsized and eaten by sharks, of course. You have rescued the first of the 4 survivors that you've encountered. So crewman number 4, please.
Come on down.
Crewman number 4's yours.
Crewman number 4's mine, done it.
Yeah.
There you are. So it's trying to help one of the 2 older male crewmen, but since the other woman is really badly wounded, she can't stand on her own, so they're kind of helping her over and trying to pass them to crewman number 1. Now there is a risk here at this point that because she's wounded and struggling, they could accidentally drop her in the sea. This would be a problem for her as she is bleeding heavily from a wound in her side. So let us make a dexterity test to try and pass her across. Yeah, that's okay. So they pass the wounded woman over to crewman number 4, who grabs and pulls her in by the waist. She screams in pain as he pulls her into the ship, and you can see she has a puncture mark straight through her side, left lower side, from the back through to the front, or from the front through to the back. You can't tell which way whatever did this ended.
Does it look like somebody stabbed her?
Give me a... You can either do this as a perception seeing test, as an intelligence medicine test, or as a fighting any weapon test. Any weapon focus test.
Right. Could I use a psychic contact ability?
Oh yes, you can.
Yeah, and just basically sort of quiz her mentally, as it were, as to what happened. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you will get quite a lot of information actually. Okay. So, oh shit, that goes on and on. Okay, not a problem. So you contact them mentally, and what you learn is as follows.
I'd have to make a roll though.
Okay, go ahead and try.
It's got a TN 7 plus familiarity, but if you're actually looking straight at the person,
Yes. Which
you're in physical contact with them, there's no. I don't think there's a plus.
I think technically we should probably do this on your action then.
Yeah.
So we do
Okay.
that. So crewman number 2, please.
That's me.
It is.
Can I reach this barrel from the back of the skiff,
No, I think it's going to be just
or
depends.
this box?
It depends. What? Yeah, you could reach that box.
Right. Well, he'll try and haul that box in then. In that case.
You try and haul that box in. Give me a dexterity reaching for things test. Just a dexterity test will be fine.
A drinking test. No. I don't think anything else is applicable. 13.
13. Yep, that's not a problem. You've managed to drag that and rescue that box into the ship as well. It's quite heavy as you drag it out. There's water sort of tipping off it, but whatever's in there clinks and it is quite heavy.
Good.
Because it was floating. So it's heavy for something that was still floating, but like, it was only just like the top of it was. So
Yeah,
any
so it
heavier
was-
and it would have pulled it down.
Okay. Right. So it's possibly trapped there, kept it afloat.
Yes, exactly. So crewman number 3, please.
That's me.
Okay.
Not much within his. This is another barrel over here.
It is, yes.
And
Yeah.
what is the reach of a bill hook?
A bill hook will add a meter's reach, so you can reach it with a bill hook, yes.
Right.
Probably reach it with a bill hook. I will need a dexterity test from you.
Okay. Such you shall have. Just flat dex, yeah.
Yes, I can't think.
Yeah,
of a focus that would,
that's what I rolled before.
Yep. Okay.
And
10.
you scored
10.
10. Okay. So you're struggling a little bit, but you managed to catch it and kind of drag it a little way before you lose your grip on it. So it's coming closer in.
All weapons must be checked in.
Okay. All weapons.
Well, it wasn't me this time.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, would an autoplay ad started before I could stop it. I'm so sorry.
And that's the very thing that gets me every blessed time.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the criminal. So it's the shark next. So the shark will spend this combat round devouring the last of that corpse, because it bit him in half the first time, so it eats the second half this time. So it loses its action doing that. Then it will be Thaldron.
Right. So I'm gonna give it a go with making a bit of mental contact. This is a minor action.
Yeah.
Psychic Arcana. Cast the spell. It's 7 plus familiarity for the target number. Rolled a 10
Yeah.
with
okay.
4 stunt points.
So you managed to make psychic contact with Lorna, is the injured character. Lorna, who was one of the junior officers of the Diamantina. You try and find out what caused our injury, what happened, and this is what you'll learn. The Diamantina, like Her Majesty Chanterelle, was tasked with making accurate charts of the sea around the Scatterstar archipelago. Although the archipelago is part of Aldis and usually thought of as well charted, the truth is that some of the charts are 100 years or more out of date and were never entirely accurate. So you knew all this anyway. You also knew the next bit. Every year, 1 or 2 go missing. So, during their travels, the crew of the Diamantina discovered several of the existing charts were riddled with inaccuracies. You found the same thing. Many of these were known to the islanders, and speaking to them made it possible to correct the charts. Although the vessel sailed the regions just in case to make sure that the locals' charts were accurate, they almost invariably were. Then, the Diamantina found something very strange. An entire island that was too large to be overlooked, but was not on any map. Not the maps held by the Sovereign's Cartographical Society, not the local maps and charts, nor had any islanders spoken of this mysterious island to the southwest of what had previously been thought to be the last island of the archipelago. Excuse me. The last island of the archipelago. Baffled, the captain ordered the Diamantina to sail around the island and chart its coastline. Once this was done, he intended to find a likely place to put ashore and send shore parties to investigate. Sadly, the task was never concluded. Instead, the Diamantina suffered several misfortunes. The hull sprang a leak. Ill omens befell the vessel. They were attacked by strange creatures of the air and sea, and finally came an attack by a mysterious vessel. The Diamantina fled, but the vessel gave chase. As the fast shit here, I think I meant ship. As the fastest ship, the Diamantina was able to outpace its pursuer. But then the storm arose as if from nowhere, and the Diamantina was tossed and blown. As the crew scrambled to make her fast, dark forms emerged from the water. A small band of hostile seafolk raiders, uncommonly aggressive for their kind, and seemingly in league with a mysterious pirate ship that had attacked them. They were easily repelled, although in the doing of it, the captain was lost overboard, dragged to the watery depth by the seafolk raiders. It's not a good time to be a captain of a ship round here, is it? The time lost trying to repel them left their ship vulnerable, and it was dashed apart, its mast ripping free and smashing through the vessel's deck. In the fighting, Lorna was wounded by one of the raiders, hence the injury. So that's what you learn from the psychic contact with Lorna. So she was stabbed by one of the seafolk raiders.
Yeah, that would effectively be my action then, learning all of that information.
It would, because there's quite a lot there, yeah. So that brings us back round to the beginning again. And Myval, what would you like to do?
I will help get some more people over.
Okay, you give me a... No, you're not going to need to, because this guy's not that badly injured, so you help one of the 2 older men over.
Also, I noticed that there's some rope there, so I'm going to try and sort of mime pick the rope up at him.
Okay, so give me a communications performance test, please.
Oh god. Oh god! I just see what communication is.
12.
Oh wow,
That's not terrible. Wow.
Okay, so you mind picking the rope up at a very confused looking sailor, but eventually he looks around behind him and realizes that he's got a rope behind him, so he grabs it and brings that with him, looking at you as if to say, like, is this what you meant?
Nods. Happy squeaks.
Nods and happy squeaks. All right, excellent. An enemy, you to go.
I just realised it's an awful lot like the Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
It is a bit, yeah, except you have a raccoon instead of a mouse.
That's right.
And
But it
is
can
a
tell.
rye raccoon, so it is actually just a sentient animal rather than, it's
Yeah.
wearing clothes and wielding a sword or anything. But yes, There are
You,
similarities.
you mean a big floppy hat with a feather in and a rapier? Oh.
In fact,
Was
you
it
know,
was it Rinky Tink?
Reaper
think
cheap.
Reaper Cheap. That was it.
Reaper Cheap.
Reaper
in fact,
Cheap.
you know, earlier when you were asking me before we started about like what kind of feel we're going for,
Yes.
I don't know why this didn't occur to me, but the Narnia stories.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, the fact that you were going for that, and that we should be going for that, and I've come to it naturally,
Yes,
means we're on the right
something's
track.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. One guy left, yeah?
Yes, one guy left. One guy
Okay.
who looks remarkably like the other guy that we just pulled over.
It's his twin.
Is it easy enough for me to sort of push through the rest of the people on this boat at this point to help him across?
Yes, I think so.
Right.
Yeah, we'll all shift the weight around. Being
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he is quite badly injured because he has a broken leg from where a piece of the rigging hit him.
Right.
So you will need a dexterity test to try and help get him over. Dexterity.
Right.
I'll allow acrobatics if you've got it.
I do not.
Okay, so dexterity. Okay.
just put the hook through his belt,
Yeah.
lift him across.
I'm so glad you said belt.
Yeah, so you grab him and haul him over by his belt as it happens, yeah, and he kind of flops painfully into the launch with water flooding off him. He's obviously been in the water at some point, so it looks like they've dragged him out of the sea earlier. So crewman number 1 next, please.
Oh shit, that's me.
Oh shit, it is, yes.
Sorry, I keep
It's
forgetting
alright.
which crewman I am. Could we like name the crewman? It might be easier.
Yes, you can name your crewman if you prefer.
Right. Okay.
Well, as soon as we've got all the survivors on board, I take it there's nobody else we can spot in the water at this point.
You
No.
would need a perception searching test, and that would be because the water's quite a wide area, because you'll be looking further than just this battle map. I would say that's probably going to be a major action.
I want to try and, given that there's barrels, but floating, I want to see if I can like beat this barrel a bit closer, just in case it's full of water.
Right? Yeah, you can pull that barrel on.
Yeah, cool.
Drag. Okay,
Thank you.
so you managed to drag that that barrel on, and it is full of water. Unfortunately, it's breached, so there'll be a lot of seawater has managed to get in as well, which is why it kind of tilted to its side and was just starting to go under. Okay, so crewman number 4, please.
That's you again.
That's me.
That's you again.
Crewman number 4. So he's going to take another pop at this shark with his sling. And he's hit it. So the sling stone goes hurtling across the open sea between you and boops the shark right on the snoot. Shark doesn't seem to be entirely impressed by it. Like, when I do that to the cat, not with a sling stone, obviously, but when I boop the cat's snoot, she's quite pleased by the whole thing and purrs and then eats my finger. When he's done it to the shark with a sling stone, not quite as friendly a result. That's angered the shark.
You
Probably
mean
still wants to eat your finger.
it's can eat more than your finger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Crewman number 2 now, please.
That'd be right. So the idea would be to get the boat turned around and across towards like over here.
Yeah.
Is it worthwhile actually putting this on the tow, the actual raft, using that rope and a hook?
I assume he's asking you guys and not me.
What to take the raft with us?
Yeah, because it's wood.
Yes.
Ship repairs, etc.
Yes, for the long term. Even for the short term, if we can throw something on it to further distract the shark. I mean, there's another dead body over in the water there, so the trail of that's going to have got to it. Definitely take that, and we want that other barrel that's across the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right, so crewman number 2 is going to hook the raft.
Okay. So give me an attack roll with a bill hook then. Don't know why I didn't think of that earlier.
Billy Hook.
Oh yes, yeah. So he's
And
managed
goes
to.
for
Sorry, go on.
say goes for divine intervention with those 6 stun points.
Unfortunately, he's not a cleric, and I don't think you have divine intervention in Blue Rose.
No.
Okay, so you managed to hook the raft so you can pull it in close enough that you can start tying the rope to it to bring it along. So that's going to be that crewman's goal. Crewman number 3, please.
That's me. Right, so crewman 2 was just pulling this in.
Yeah.
We've managed to get the barrel that crewman 3 was working on.
Yes.
Right, so he'll go and help with this.
Right, you are. So shark attack next. So let me just test something. Let me see. It's not a whisper, is it? No, it's not. Okay.
This is where the Jaws
that
music
was a
starts.
Score of 16. So I'm trying to find out which is attracting it most. All the thrashing about from the boat, which looks like a large target, like a dolphin or something it could eat, or the smell of blood. So whichever roll is highest. So its perception against the boat is 16. Its perception smelling against the blood is
18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, an immediate meal target of blood, biologically, is what the shark would go for, from what I've just read.
Okay.
It doesn't have to put any work into that,
Well,
whereas
maybe
it does.
it's had enough of it's just had a people. It's peopled out. It's like, oh, I want something sweet now.
I'm gonna say, is it are sharks just basically me at a buffet? Like after the first plate, I'm only gonna go to the nearest trench of food.
It's basically empty the table by degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
first section, second section, third section.
Or me at a buffet where I always have 2 plates because I'm going to put so much on my plate that I'm going to have to pretend that half of it is for someone else.
It's for my invisible friend.
Yes.
Well,
I will take a wheelbarrow and no shame.
Okay, so Shaun, your character to go.
My character to go. Okay, well, I'll say, right, let's heave to and get across to those other barrels and get back to the ship. There's sharks in the water. But first of all, I want to have a look around. There's two things that I actually want to do. So I want to say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a free action.
What's her name? Who's bleeding? Does she
Lorna?
need
Yeah.
medical attention?
Yes.
Right. You try and
I'll
give her.
do that.
You're going to try and do that on your turn, right?
I'm the healer.
Well, I was going to try a standard healing test, but if I fail,
if your skills are better served getting the barrels and whatnot,
yeah, not really.
okay.
But yeah, okay, right. I'll say let's turn the boat then and head back to swing to the port side, as it were.
Okay, so I'm
Come
going
across
to
this
need
way.
a advanced sailing test for this one, please. Turn boat. So give me a dexterity sailing.
Is that me? You want to do this? Okay.
I mean, if you're just giving that as an instruction to somebody else, they can do it when it's their turn, and you can do something else now.
Yeah, that's the instruction basically.
Right, so you're giving
that's
that as an instruction. Yeah, that's a free action. That's fine. That's
Shall I try a healing roll?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Beat a level. There you go. 11 with 4 stun points.
Okay, so you've managed to stop the bleeding, which was more than the other survivors from the Diamantina were able to do. So you've managed to get it bandaged and staunch the bleeding. You're putting pressure on. She'll get a few hit points back as well, but that means she's not going to drop dead before you get back to the ship. So that's a major action. So that's you done. So it is next round, and it's Myval to go.
Are we maintaining the house rule of stunt points add to the healing?
Yes, we'll maintain that that house rule. I think.
Lovely.
Right. Is this raft tied to this boat?
It is now, yes.
We've secured
Yeah.
it.
Would I be able to shimmy over to the raft and then use one of the oars to try and get at this barrel?
Yes, you would. That would give you enough reach. So I'm just going to jump you over to there. Give
Yeah.
me a dexterity test to try and get that barrel with the oar.
How come, right? I did better at that communication test before when my communication's -1 than I did on my dexterity, and my dexterity's like my highest.
And you've got effectively the same dice roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, the -1's taken it off to make it a 12, and the +4's made up to 13.
Yeah.
Luck of the dice, I suppose, averages out.
Yeah. Okay, so 13 is. I think that's enough. Let me just have a look. So it will be a challenging test because you're using an oar. 13 is the target number. So yes, you've
Yay.
managed to whack it with an oar and kind of move it towards you instead of pushing it away, so it's drifting over towards you. So there you go. That's you.
I love my barrel.
So this raccoon is now clinging on to its favourite barrel. And it is an enemy to go.
Okay. Have we determined what this is?
It's another barrel.
That's a barrel. Not a barrel float.
That's another barrel just seeing sort of
Bobbing
top
in the
down.
water.
Yes.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, we really do need all the water we can get our hands on.
Judging by the way that's bobbing up, right, instead of on its side, yeah, that's probably, yeah, it could well be water.
Right. Let's swing the boat over to starboard if we are orientated with this as the prow now.
Yeah, okay.
Prow now, brown cow.
Okay.
Right, so we're switching directions effectively by
Yeah.
Yeah,
swapping
you
the
can
oar
do. You
over.
just turn the
Mhm.
oarsman around, essentially.
Yep.
Okay, so give me a.
We don't have to perform a 3-point turn or anything.
No, you don't need to. You just.
Yep.
The people turn around. The boat doesn't
Yep.
need to, because
Yep.
it's that shape. You do get some launchers which have a prow and then a flat back. You can't do that with them, but this is designed to be pilot in any direction. So give me a.
That was a rather stern reply.
Dexterity. Oh, God. Give me a
But stop,
dexterity.
I'll take a bow.
I swear to God, dexterity sailor test.
Quick before you turn him to port.
Yes.
You know how that's going to
Ooh, I
go.
could buy some port when I go shopping tomorrow.
Oh dear.
7. Okay, so that's a fail.
Oh, the
So
role-playing gods were not happy with my puns.
Yeah, so it's taken a little bit longer to get everybody turned around than you'd hoped. So they're kind of getting in each other's way now because it's getting quite crowded on here.
Yeah.
So you'll need another test next round instead. So crewman number 1.
Can crewman number 1 reach this other barrel with
No,
a
not from
oar?
there.
No. Heck. Crewman number 1 is going to help with the turning around.
Okay. Give me a dexterity sailing test for crewman number 1 then, please.
14.
14. Okay, so he manages to start imposing some order. You sit there, you turn around, you stop doing that. Don't do do the other thing, don't do that thing. And people start sort of following his instructions. So you're starting to get everybody in the right position at least. But you
Jenkins, stop picking your nose. Now is not the time.
crewman number 4.
I thought my camera was on there.
Crewman number
I didn't need to know that.
4 will do the same thing. I don't mean pick his nose, I mean he will help try and get the vessel around. So dexterity sailing, there we go. That's a pass, so another 3 in the thing, so it's 4. You only need to get to 5 to get this turned around the right way. So, crewman number 2, please.
Is going to give it a go as well.
Okay, go for it.
Go for it. Sailing test. Ta-da!
Okay, that's a pass, and that's 2 more in the pool, so that's enough to get this vessel and everybody on board turned around the right way. There we go.
The shark's ears pricked up there. 2 more in the pool.
Yes. And that will turn this that way, and obviously the raccoon has not just fallen off the thing, nor has the raccoon's favourite barrel. There we go. So crewman number 3.
That's me.
It is.
Crewman number 3 is going to get himself up to here with his bill hook and is going to hook a barrel.
Okay, from there with a bill hook, I think a skilled sailor's not going to have too much trouble, so you pull
Yep.
that on board. It's now the turn of the shark, and after having several rounds kept it busy with other things, it's now coming for you. Dun 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 dun.
It isn't full. It doesn't have enough yet.
Have you seen the size of the shark?
Oh dear.
It's an aperitif.
Oh dear. I think it's got more than a pair of teeth. It's got a full row of them.
It has. It's got loads. Yeah. I think aperitif is a drink as well. I think I got the wrong term. Never mind. So, it's. I'm just going to check its special abilities. In case there's anything there I need to apply, like instantly sink ship, for example. I don't think it's got that, but you'd feel stupid if you ran the combat and then went, oh shit.
Is one of these barrels full of gunpowder?
No, because as far as I can tell, they haven't discovered gunpowder on Aldis yet.
Oh right, I didn't know if it was a black powder setting.
No.
Is it special stunt to just go do 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 do?
Honestly, if that's a baby, you don't want to see a full-grown one.
It
No,
could
you
quite
certainly
easily
don't,
be
do.
Daddy Shark.
Ah,
So
good.
it's going to attack.
It's hungry
the
shark.
boat.
It's going to attack the boat
Yeah.
Great.
with a 9.
With a 9, it's actually missed, so it comes lunging out at the side of the boat, and the 2 older blokes who are rowing, it's actually kind of lunged out trying to grab one of them. They go, shit! Ah! And pulled back in time. So that's the shark done.
I thought you were going to say with a knife there,
With a knife.
rather than with a 9, and I'm like, God, is this shark not scary enough as it is without arming the thing?
Well,
That
maybe
could have
it's
been
a
worse, could
shark
have been
from
with a
West Side
spoon.
Story.
It's with a spoon.
You thought I meant
It's
a great
just like
white, I meant
kicking
a
its
gang member.
flippers.
Yeah. Okay, so next up after the shark, Shaun, it is Thaldron to go.
Oh, and here we go. This is if it comes, if it actually works, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Thaldron's going to do something amazing at this point,
Okay.
right? He's going to basically what happens is a long spear appears in his hand potentially
Right, yeah.
if this works, right? So rolls the dice. Oh, target number failed.
You failed, right, okay. So, you try and concentrate to create your psychic weapon, but nothing happens. You kind of, you look sheepishly at your empty hands and you turn to the other crew people and go, this has never happened to me before. It is Myval to go next.
Oh, yikes. Gonna try and get back over to the main boat, which is presumably now rocking quite a bit because of the shark.
It is. So give me
Holding
a jump
barrel.
test, please. That's dexterity, jumping, or acrobatics.
Oh, God.
It's an average difficulty, so you only need to beat 11.
Oh, phew.
So, oh, actually, no, you were holding a socking great barrel, so it's a challenging difficulty.
And only accept your first answer.
Which was a
Can you?
15.
Well, challenging would be 13, so you've still made it okay. So this raccoon comes flying across from the thing, its little tail flailing, its paws locked around its favourite barrel, as it comes thump into the boat, which just causes it to rock further. Lots of screams from everyone else, and an enemy to go.
Poke it with your trident.
Okay. I am going to let's see. I've got like a sort of like a jerkin, I suppose, like some manner of shirt. Okay. Taking that off. Taking my knife.
Yeah.
Opening my own palm. Bleeding on the shirt.
Right, yeah.
Scrunching it up into a ball, and throwing it as far away from us as possible.
Okay, so taking the shirt off, taking your knife out, cutting your
Yep.
palm. I think that's
And
as far
throwing
as
it.
you're going to get. I don't think you're going to get a throw in there as well. So that's
Fair enough.
technically a 3 actions, but
Fair
one
enough.
is so minor I'm going to allow that. That's fine. So you're up to the point where you have like blood on your shirt.
Okay.
It is crewman number 1, please.
Where the heck am I?
Speaking's a free action, yeah.
Yes.
Speaking to everybody, like, somebody take this and throw it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm just thinking realistically, would that actually happen? Because you kind of play the mechanic there rather than
your call entirely.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to say no to that one.
Okay, no. In that case, I would have paddle.
Realistically, somebody who's come up with that plan isn't going to go through all of that and then go, here, you throw it, I've run out of actions. So
I mean, it might do if he's just trying to be dramatically topless.
Have you ever heard of the...
This game does have the drama dice.
That's true.
Oh. Have you ever heard of the peasant-powered rail rifle?
No.
Yes.
Thought Shaun would have done, yeah.
An impossibility.
I know. It shows you how people try to bend rule sets like into a pig ring just to get their own way.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to paddle away from the shop.
Indeed.
Okay, give me a roll for that, please.
Rowing.
Yep, so that would be dexterity sailing or dexterity.
Away the fuck from the shark.
Oh,
it's an 18, by the way. Sorry, my bad.
No, I just didn't notice it had happened. Okay, so yeah, 18. You are currently propelling the vessel away from the shark quite neatly. Okay, that very nearly took the vessel without anybody that was on it, and I'm pretty sure.
Oh no!
Oh, look, it's taken the shark with it and left Myval behind. Hold on, let's just.
But at least I have a barrel.
Okay, so you are starting to get away from the shark. So this is turning into a bit of a chase now. So I'm going to make that a chase test. So that's 4 in your chase pool already. So when the shark's turn comes around, we'll see. What will happen is if you get a certain target number before the shark catches you, it'll just give up. It'll just go after this. I'm burning more energy than I'd get from whatever that splashy thing is. So, crewman 4.
That's you.
That's me. He is going to fire at the pursuing shark since you're still close enough. He's going to give it. I'm trying to have the shark shoot him. There, that's not how it works. So sling. That's a hit and with 6 stun points. Okay, so he carefully looses just as the shark comes rearing up and opens its mouth. So he's going to get armor piercing because it's going to go straight into the shark's gob, and he's going to do lethal damage as well. So he's on an anti-shark thing at the moment. So we'll just pop that out of the way. Okay, so he has done 13 points of damage to the shark. Wow, okay. We might be approaching the point at which the shark has to start taking morale tests or give up here. So 13 would take that down to 21. We're only 1 point off at having to start taking morale tests.
Oh, let's kill it and eat it. Come on.
Okay, so crewman number 2, please.
I think that's Shaun.
do
I've
we do?
named my crewman, so it's going to be a bit easier.
Ah, right, okay.
Okay. Ship's crew. I think possibly they would also be for rowing the boat.
Okay. Give me
Yeah, that's
another
fine.
roll and I will increase the chase test a little bit if he passes.
Ooh, an 11.
11. Yeah, he has, so that's 1. So you're on 5 head start now. Crewman Piper.
Much easier to remember.
It is.
I think he will also set about the task of rowing.
Okay.
Let's get us away in double quick time.
Okay, go ahead and roll for me, please. And that's a pass with 6 stunt points, so you are heading off at a speed which is convinced. Go on.
I mean, it's 6 on the stunt die, but it hasn't generated stunts. There's
Yeah,
no
that
double.
that doesn't matter for a chase test.
Oh, I see. Right, okay.
The chase tests, the way they work, whatever you get on the chase on the stunt dice, is what goes into the chase pool.
Ah, I understand. Thank you.
No problem. I'm so used to people knowing this because in my post-apocalyptic game, a chase breaks out virtually every week.
Yeah, and then somebody lobs a Molotov on top of the pursuing creature.
Then Rab lobs a Molotov, yes, or just turns an entire van full of gang members into a Molotov.
I think we've only done one chase in Fantasy Age, and it was through the swamp.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right, and that was for Wilderness Wanderers. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so you've now escaped because your crewmen are furiously paddling at a speed at which the shark has decided, combined with the injuries it's taken, that this morsel of food, whatever it is not worth the energy and injuries it's expending to eat. So it's just going to give up. So as you paddle furiously away back to your own vessel and safety, you will be pleased to know that you make it back to Her Majesty's Chanterelle with the survivors, all of whom are injured to various degrees, but can be treated by various members of the crew. There's plenty of you now.
I look at both my hand and shirt with regret.
Yeah. Oh, what have I done that for? Yeah. Never mind. It was a good idea nonetheless. So, where we leave it today then is I will just recount the information that you learn, because currently Thaldron is the only person that knows this. So this will be the tale that the crew tell you. So I'll read it out again because it's kind of important to the. So, I'm going to find it again. Right, as you know, the Diamantina was an exploration vessel out of Garnet, same as yourselves. Like you, we were tasked with making accurate charts of the seas around the Scatterstar Archipelago. Although the archipelago was part of Aldis, was usually thought of as well charted. As you know, the charts have not proven as accurate as they should have been. So during our travels, when we last left you, we discovered several of the existing charts were riddled with little inaccuracies. Many of these were more known to the islanders, and speaking to them made it possible to correct the charts, although we sailed the region anyway just to be sure. Nonetheless, they were invariably accurate. Then we found something very strange. An entire island that was too large to have been unnoticed, to have gone unnoticed for any length of time. and yet it appeared on no map. Not the maps held by the Sovereign's Cartographical Society, nor the local maps and charts, nor had any of the islanders ever spoken of this mysterious island, and yet it was inhabited. We could see buildings in the interior. To the southwest of what had previously been thought to be the last island of the archipelago. Baffled, our captain ordered the Diamantina to sail around the island and chart its coastlines. Once this was done, he intended to find a likely place to put ashore and send shore parties to investigate. Sadly, our task was never concluded. Instead, we suffered several misfortunes, one heaped upon the other. The hull sprung a leak. Ill omens befell us. We were attacked by strange creatures of the air and strange creatures of the sea. Finally came an attack by a mysterious vessel. The Diamantina fled, but the vessel gave chase. As the faster ship, we were able to outpace our pursuer, but then the storm arose as if from nowhere, and our vessel was tossed and blown. As we scrambled to make her fast, dark forms emerged from the water, a small band of seafolk raiders, uncommonly aggressive and vicious for their kind, and seemingly in league with a mysterious pirate ship that had attacked us. We repelled them easily enough, although I was injured in the process, taking a spear through the side. And during the fight, the captain was lost, washed overboard, dragged to the watery depth by the seafolk raiders. The time lost trying to repel the attack left us vulnerable, and our ship was dashed apart when the mainmast ripped free and smashed the vessel's deck. In the fighting, I was wounded, as I mentioned, and nobody was able to recover the charts that we'd made, or the charts of this island. They are still upon the ruins of the Diamantina at the bottom of the sea, although they are in the chart locker, which is waterproof.
I think it's a turtle.
I'm getting Captain Nemo vibes.
So is that why it was shredded? That was dead in the water.
Shredder. So that's the tale you've been told by the survivors of the Diamantina as you help them back to health, as you help them to recover. And
Just as well, we had 4 spare berths, obviously.
well, largely hammocks.
Well, of course we do, because we got rid of the bosun and all of the people who went with him.
That's true, yeah, so you probably do, actually. Yeah.
We're now back up to a full crew complement.
Yeah. As it happens, Lorna was a bosun's mate, so she can take the role of bosun on for you, if you like, or your bosun's mate can take the role of bosun, and she can become your
bosun's mate. Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah.
Once she's feeling better after her injury. So the question that you and the first mate have to ponder is what to do next. You now you've recovered some supplies. Some of the supplies you recovered are spoiled, but not all, which means you now have more water, giving you a larger range, and you now have more food. Food's not your immediate issue. Water possibly is. You were on your way to put in for more supplies anyway when this happened. The question is, do you head for a port to buy it, or do you head for one of the uninhabited islands to forage and take fresh water from a spring or a river there, and then the further question is, what do you do in the long term? So I need to know both the short and long term goals, so I know what to prepare for next week.
Is it our decision?
Partly, I mean, you'll be advising the first week.
Right.
Well, long term, I want to go check out the mysterious island, but I think short term we do need to sort of.
Long term, I want to find the captain.
Well, yeah, but that's like extremely long term.
Not necessarily. We might find him straight away. the longer it takes, the more chance there is that he's dead.
Well, we find him straight away. It wasn't very long term, was it?
As you hold
the character doesn't know that.
As you hold the piece of cloth from the captain's coat, close to the compass, because you've discovered this strange thing, as we mentioned earlier.
This would be the first time of seeing it, I think.
Yes. So yeah, it's almost by accident. You're talking about wanting to see, wanting to find the captain, and you're holding the piece of cloth from his torn coat, saying, "This is the captain's coat. I still hold it now." And suddenly the compass starts to spin. It takes everyone by surprise, and then the compass needle moves away from true north, and instead is pointing southwest of here. There's a sharp intake of breath, and Lorna says, "Southwest was the direction we found the mysterious island."
Dun, dun, dun.
Locking eyes with Myval. Like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yes, let's go and root through the bins.
Okay, so we will draw our session to a close there. The first adventure that sets up this these adventures on Aldis is, I wouldn't say concluded, because you're still going to need to make. Let's make a decision about the short term first.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely need to pull in for supplies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you going to forage for them, or are you going to travel a bit further and find a port? The choice is yours.
Well, if the ship's back to being shipshape, doesn't need any more further repairs at this point, I would suggest that it's imperative to find the captain as soon as possible, and that we need to forage for the supplies.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Along the way,
Water, we need to get to land, find a spring, find a river, what have you. Food-wise, I can fish.
Okay, so foraging is going to be the solution to that. Now, slightly longer term, what is the next thing you're going to do after that?
Southwest.
But we're going to chart down towards the southwest, I presume.
Okay.
Do we know? Do we have any ability to actually locate where the Diamantina sank?
Yes, you do. You could probably calculate where she went down based on where you found the flotsam and jetsam and knowing the tide. So this would be a navigation roll.
Right. Okay. So when you get to the immediate area, and I take it we've got some sea folk on board.
Hello.
Who could actually go down and recover the cartography cabinet?
Yes.
Potentially, or take a rope down, wrap it around it, and we'll haul it up.
Yeah.
If that's applicable, if it's in shallow enough water, I don't know what pressure depth people can survive in this. It's fantasy, so
yeah,
I'm assuming it's not in deep water.
It won't be in that deep water. No, it is shallow enough that I happen to have a map.
Right, so it's on some sort of continental shelf type thing,
yes. Yeah.
And it's not deep ocean.
That's correct. Yeah.
And I take it we're kind of like Caribbean warm water. We're not in a cold Arctic or Atlantic.
You're not in cold Arctic. No, you're in the warmer end of the temperate.
That's we're talking tropical islands, Caribbean style.
Not subtropical, let's say.
Subtropical, but yeah. Okay.
So is everybody happy with that idea? Finding the wreck of the
Diamantina,
and that's going to be your next goal after the foraging, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. With that, I know what to prepare for next week. So that's great. I hope you've enjoyed your first forage.
Very much.
Aldis. Good.
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much for joining me for the game, and thank you the people at home for tuning in and listening to our first episode of our new Blue Rose live play. We'll be back again next week with the second episode as the party go to try and find food and water, and then try and recover the charts from the wreck of the Diamantina. But from us, for now, thank you very much, and good night.
Good night.
Bye for now.
Take care.